because they're beginning to pop and really become quite strong quickly. Cedar Rapids, we just had a storm pass through about 20 minutes ago, and so looks like maybe a little response with the temperatures. Winds still out of the south. So remember, the action that we're tracking right now, just off to the west of the Mississippi, that is all prefrontal. Our cold front still building back out behind this, and I want to start with the tornado warning because this storm, it's a lone wolf out here, and right now we are watching it continue to lift up to the northeast. Rochester, about 125,000 folks live within Rochester, Minnesota, north of the I-90 corridor. So we're going to heads up here because it's headed in that direction, and this storm looks pretty impressive. Now, we're sampling the mid-levels of this particular supercell, meaning we're not surface-based, but when you look at the storm relative winds, right? You're looking at the velocity, as we call it. You've got winds that are moving towards the radar in green and away from the radar in red. And so with our gate-to-gate wind shear, mid-levels, it's not particularly strong, but this cell is certainly rotating, and it is tall. Check this out. We're looking at 40,000 feet, and we have a decent hail structure. The hail potential with this particular supercell, upwards of ping pong to probably upwards of even golf ball sized hail. But treat this warning very seriously. Rochester, Minnesota, I would just go ahead and get to a safe place as quickly as possible. Nothing is going to slow this storm down. So we're going to watch that warning be extended up to the northeast. Let's go to that cluster of storms that Haley was mentioning, right? This is an area that we've been watching just off to the southwest of Dubuque. Now, this quickly grew upscale, meaning those discrete supercells quickly became a line. And that was something that could very well have been on the table for the day today. But what I'm interested in, while this has become largely a damaging wind and hail threat, you got to watch the southern tail of this cluster because there could still be enough rotation to maybe spawn a tornado on the south side. So we'll watch that closely. I'm looking just off to, say, the east of Cedar Rapids, and there it is, just a little notch. It's tiny, but it's had my attention for about the last 5 minutes or so. And because it's on the southern side of that storm, it's being fueled with a bit of an inflow with all of that moisture and warmth that is keeping, well, this storm quite sustained. But our hail core within this particular storm, upwards of 30,000 feet. And we've had some reports of ping pong to golf ball sized hail, but these storms continue to grow north of 50,000 foot storm tops. And so definitely going to be something we have to watch for closely. That damaging wind threat, that too will be something we'll have to watch unfold. Right now tagged for about 60-mile-an-hour winds. The considerable tag for these warnings is largely for those hailstones, but tornado possible tag, that rotation, it's certainly there. So it's capable of producing a tornado, and I think more so on the southern side, but still a little notch, little kink in between that cluster could be just enough to get some spin. But that will push off to the northeast, and it's been moving pretty quickly. The southern side of this is pushing off at about 50 miles an hour, a little slower on the northern tier up through Dubuque, but you can see those storms beginning to roll their way through. Let's jump further back to the west because we have storms that are firing ahead of the cold front, and now we're starting to see storms beginning to pop up along the cold front. And so with this front driving in that colder, denser air, that lift moving in this environment is going to bring us a pretty dynamic line of storms. This is the very reason why we had a level 4 upgrade to our severe weather threat today. A tornado watch is likely coming imminently across parts of Kansas and perhaps northern Oklahoma, Missouri, maybe kind of filling in the zone as we expect the potential for maybe discrete cells at first, quickly becoming a line of storms with some pretty powerful wind gusts. So you'll see there's the initialization behind that front. Look at that cumulus cloud beginning to fire, that line of storms just off to the west of Wichita, and that will be our cold front. And so with that, you can see a little lightning starting to initialize north of Wichita as well. And so as these storms continue to grow, look at the alpha boundary, look at the convergence here. There's our lift. And that's where we're expecting to see this continue to intensify for the next several hours. And the threats on the board, we're talking nearly 80 to 90 mile-an-hour wind gusts. And right on cue as we're talking about it, Christopher letting me know that that tornado watch has been issued. So an extension a little farther to the south. We were expecting this, just waiting for kind of the collaboration amongst the National Weather Service offices with the Storm Prediction Center to kind of highlight the best zones and which states, which counties need to be on most alert. So as we get that loaded up for you, just giving you an idea of what we're expecting to see for the next several hours. The fact that we went with a tornado watch in this area just goes to show you that even despite damaging winds perhaps being more of that primary risk as we bleed later into this evening, taking that top threat of what most likely folks will experience with this line pushing through, the tornado possibility is still very much on the table. So this tornado watch, as it gets loaded in for you, runs through 9 p.m. Central Time. And it's going to encompass a much larger piece of real estate across the Central Plains. So there it is. And as expected, connecting with our northern watch, this runs through 8 p.m. And then as we jump over the state line into Missouri, crossing the I-70 corridor, stretched back into western Oklahoma, this runs through 9 p.m. Central Time. And right now within this watch, we could see softball-sized hail and 85-mile-an-hour wind gusts on top of that tornado potential. So we're just getting things started, Melanie, and we've got a lot more to cover as things begin to fire up quickly this afternoon.
If you have tried multiple oral antidepressants,
Is it drifting north? It just hit something.
Tonight, a menacing funnel cloud swirling near Rochester, Minnesota.
There's indeed a tornado on the ground.
Sirens blaring as it tore through. These people watching the twister form in disbelief.
Holy, look at that.
Here, you can see debris flying through the air. This is the first look at the damage. Trees toppled, home after home ripped to shreds. A suspected tornado also ripping through Lena, Illinois, leaving this trail of damage. It caps off a week of dangerous weather with at least 40 confirmed tornadoes across the country. Tonight, 38 million people at risk for severe weather.
that's the airport.
Including in Wisconsin,
Completely underwater.
where homes and buildings have been swallowed by historic flooding. A state of emergency is in effect. Floodwater surrounding this home, a line of sandbags keeping it back for now. The swollen Wisconsin River is now threatening the town of Portage.
We have many homes that are underwater, many roads.
This is the one road in and out of Black Hawk Park. You see it's already partially covered in some areas. Officials now ordering mandatory evacuations, saying they're concerned about the structural integrity of the levee. The fire chief telling me the situation is very serious. Water is seeping through the levee?
Yep, water is seeping through. Yeah, we have the roads that are shut down are based on water coming through the levee.
This whole sidewalk was not covered yesterday.
Erin Daly worries if there's any more water, her home will be in trouble.
I'm concerned if it gets any closer, we're going to probably have to start talking about doing some sandbags.
And with that, Shaq Brewster joins us tonight from Portage, Wisconsin. Shaq, we can see those ominous clouds there behind you. Your area is bracing for more severe weather tonight at any moment?
That's exactly right, Tom. The threat for potential severe storms as well as potential tornadoes. And then there's that flooding. This shows you why officials are so concerned. Right here, when you cross the street, there's usually about 8 feet of land before you get to the Wisconsin River. That is clearly not the case tonight. Right across the street, the home is using sandbags to protect their property as we head into the night, Tom.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated